This is Chris Bedales. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Bedales, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. They'll all be down there in the description box, and I'm here to do my AEW Dynamite February 15th, 2023 reviews. Today we're going to be discussing about AEW Dynamite. Now, we kick off the show with the first match of the night. It was Anthony Bowens and Max Caster and Billy Gunn, the Acclaim, and they was teaming up with the AEW All-Atlantic Champion, Orange Cassidy, with Dan Houser at ringside, versus Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt in a 4-on-4 8-man tag team match. So yeah, it was an 8-man tag team match between those two teams. Now, they showed a graphic of Jerry Jarrett, who sadly passed away. I think it was like yesterday or something. So he was like 80 years old. Rest in peace to Jerry Jarrett, which is Jeff Jarrett's dad. But yeah, it was great to see that Jeff still went ahead and performed, even though I know, obviously, like, all that stuff is on his mind for sure, you know. But, you know, you gotta throw some respect to Jeff Jarrett, still trying to entertain the fans, even though his dad literally just passed away. So, respect to Jeff Jarrett, you know. But yeah, that was pretty cool of him. But yeah, we get to the match. It was an okay match. It was going back and forth. Satnam Singh's first match on Dynamite, if I'm not mistaken. Probably first match ever in AEW. I don't know. I don't watch Dark or Elevation or any of that. But yeah, I think this is his first match ever, maybe. But I know for sure it's on Dynamite. Like, his first match ever on Dynamite. So yeah, he was doing, like, okay. Nothing really too much. Billy Gunn hit him with the Famouser at one point, taking him out. And then Sanjay Dutt got tagged in, and he got hit with the orange punch at one point because he was trying to stab Max Caster with a freaking pencil, and that didn't work out. Max Caster lifted his legs up so they could hit the scissor me timbers onto him. At one point, Anthony Bowens gets on the top onto the second turnbuckle. Jay Lethal comes up, pushing him off. Billy Gunn got involved, but he gets knocked off. And then Orange Cassidy was trying to get involved as well, up until Jay Lethal would try to come up again, but Orange Cassidy hurricanrana's him over the top rope, taking him out. Jeff Jarrett got taken out in the middle of everything as well after getting hit with a super kick by Bowens. Bowens eventually climbed up the second turnbuckle, hitting the scissor me timbers onto Sanjay Dutt, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, the Acclaimed and Orange Cassidy defeated Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Jeff Jarrett in the 8-man tag team match. That's what happened for that match. I'll give it 2 stars. That's why I'll give it, but it was okay. But yeah, that's what happened there. But up next, it looks like it'll be a Tornado tag team match, or whatever. Texas Tornado tag team match. John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus Preston Vance and Roosh up next. So yeah, that match will be happening up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So, the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite. Now, before I talk about the next match, I forgot to mention one thing, that the Guns actually did came out during the 8-man tag team match, and it was on the ramp and everything. So, yeah, I forgot to mention that they did came out during the match as well. But then we get to the next match. It was John Moxley and the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, Claudio Castagnoli, versus Preston Vance and Roosh with Jose at ringside in a Texas Tornado tag team match. So yeah, in this match, it was a pretty good match. During this match, Hangman Adam Page was watching this match from backstage and all that on the TV monitor, and Roosh and Preston actually attacked Moxley and Claudio in the crowd while they was making their entrance and everything. So yeah, both of these tag teams was just going back and forth and everything, and then they make it to the ring, the match is going on and everything, and it was bringing in weapons and everything else, and it was getting pretty cool and everything. At one point, we see Claudio try to hit the neutralizer onto Roosh until Jose comes in there hitting Claudio in the back with the steel chair. He kind of like threw at him in the back, it looked like. Instead of like holding it with his hands and actually hitting him, I think he actually threw it. Like, Claudio was like perfectly fine because it was like a good shot, you know, like the chair didn't do anything. It still hit him in the back and like in the right spot and everything. But I think Jose actually threw the damn chair. But yeah, that's what happened there. And then after Jose did that, Wheeler Yuta came out and started attacking Jose. So yeah, he was going at it with Jose and everything. And Claudio got knocked out the ring by Roosh. John Moxley knocks Roosh out the ring, and then Roosh, and then we see John Moxley and Preston Vance going at it. Both of them's bloody up. Preston and John Moxley. John had a chain choking out Preston, choking him out with an interlocked on like a cross arm breaker, and made him tap out. So yeah, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli defeated Rush and Preston Vance tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. It was a pretty good match. So yeah, for that match, I'll give it 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. But then after the match ended, we see Hangman Adam Page get attacked backstage by Kip Sabian, the Butcher, and the Blade. So yeah, he got laid out because later on tonight, Adam Page will be taking on Kip Sabian one-on-one. So yeah, that match is supposed to happen later on tonight. But up next, we're going to be seeing Mark Briscoe in action. He'll be taking on Josh Woods up next on Dynamite. So yeah, that match will be up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite now, before we talk about the one-on-one match with Mark Briscoe and Josh Woods, there was a segment where we see Wardlow sitting backstage with Jim Ross getting interviewed and stuff. Now, this interview already happened and everything. It wasn't happening backstage or anything because it was showing like the video packages and stuff between Wardlow and Samoa Joe. Wardlow was talking about the about his dad and everything, being around him up until like 8 years old, and then he dipped out of his life and then came back when he was like an adult at an early age or whatever, and he was talking about how his dad had cancer and everything, and how he grew out his beard and his hair for his dad and everything, and was never going to cut it up until Samoa Joe went ahead and cut it off for him, and he said for that he's going after Samoa Joe. So yeah, that's what Wardlow said, and it was pretty cool. But then we get to the next match. It was one half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, Mark Briscoe versus Josh Woods one-on-one with Smart Mark Sterling at ringside. Now, during this match, while the referee was distracted, we see Mark Briscoe run to the ropes or whatever, and he got dragged out the ring by Arya Daivari and Tony Nese. They was beating him down up until we seen Rey Fenix and Penta Zero Miedo come up. The Lucha Brothers come up and start brawling with Tony Nese and Arya Daivari at ringside and everything. And then during this match, Mark Briscoe was doing pretty good and everything. He lays out Josh Woods with the Death Valley Driver. Onto him, he climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumps off with the elbow drop, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Mark Briscoe defeated Josh Woods tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. It was a pretty good match. I give that match 2.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. Mark Briscoe was doing pretty good. And I think he is signed to AEW officially now. Now, obviously, he already worked for Tony Khan because of the Ring of Honor contract. But I think now, just for like AEW itself, I think he is signed to AEW now, if I'm not mistaken. I think I seen that on Twitter. So yeah, Mark Briscoe's on AEW now. But yep, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see Renee Paquette interviewing Adam Cole. And Adam Cole was talking about how he's glad to be back and he'll just dominate the whole roster and everything. So yeah, that's what happened there. It was an okay interview right there. But up next, we're going to be seeing the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, MJF, up next on Dynamite. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, we had the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, MJF. He makes his way down to the ring, and he starts talking about Bryan Danielson. Now, he says that he got some match against Bryan Danielson in the 60-minute Iron Man match for the World Heavyweight Championship at Revolution. And he says he's going to beat him and everything. That's what he was saying. But then the crowd was chatting for him, and he kept on telling the crowd to shut the hell up and everything. And the crowd wouldn't shut up. And, MJF was talking about how the crowd don't even love Bryan Danielson. They just love that he could throw on some 5-star matches about his wrestling and all that. But they don't love him at all. So, yeah, that's what MJF was talking about. But then he goes like, let me bring somebody out that knows you very well, Bryan Danielson. And it was Christopher Daniels. Christopher Daniels comes out, and it's been a while since we've seen him. I think the last time we seen Christopher Daniels, I think it was that he faced Bryan Danielson on an episode of Dynamite. So, yeah, it's been a minute since we've seen Christopher Daniels. But, yeah, he comes out, and he says that MJF actually paid him to come out and talk some crap about Bryan Danielson, but he says he's not going to do that. He was throwing out some respect for Bryan Danielson, talking about he accomplished so many things in 2001. He accomplished winning the tournament of King of the Indies and all that, and he inspired the Ring of Honor, and then he won multiple world titles throughout other promotions and all that, and how MJF is not a real world champion, how he's just a fraud, and Bryan Danielson's a real professional wrestler and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what he was saying. He goes like, well, with the fan base wanting something real to bring back professional wrestling, that's what Ring of Honor came from. And then eventually 4 years ago, AEW came alive, and if AEW didn't come out, MJF wouldn't be a thing. So yeah, that's what Christopher Daniels said, and he goes up to MJF's face. MJF gets mad, slaps the mic out of his hands and pushes him, and then Christopher Daniels pushes him away, and MJF was talking some crap. Christopher Daniels walk up to him, and then that's when MJF hits a low blow onto him, kicking him in the nuts, and then he locks on Salt of the Earth onto Christopher Daniels, onto his arm, and then Bryan Danielson comes running out, but MJF quickly got out the ring. So yeah, that's what happened there. I like this feud between Bryan Danielson and MJF, not a bad one, so yeah. But up next, we're going to be seeing Jungle Boy versus Brian Cage one-on-one up next. So yeah, that match will be happening up next. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. It was Jungle Boy versus Brian Cage with Prince Nana at ringside. And it was an okay match. It was going back and forth and everything. At one point, we see Brian Cage hit the F10 onto Jungle Boy. He pins them 1, 2. Jungle Boy barely kicking out 2. At one point, we see Jungle Boy jump off the top turnbuckle with a big splash onto Brian Cage. He pins him. He almost had the 3 count, but Brian Cage barely kicking out at 2. Both of them's going at it. Jungle Boy takes him down, and then while Brian Cage was on his knees, he hits the thrust kick onto him, runs to the ropes, come back with a vicious clothesline elbow to the back of the head onto Brian Cage, and rolls him up for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Jungle Boy defeated Brian Cage tonight in a one-on-one match. That's what happened. But then after the match ended, Jungle Boy's walking up the ramp and everything, and then all of a sudden Christian Cage's theme song hits. He comes out wearing the singlet still for his arm, and then Jungle Boy runs up to him, and Christian sprayed him in the eyes with mace, I guess. And then Jungle Boy obviously can't see. Christian takes off the sling, he lifts him up, and then hits the kill switch onto Jungle Boy, laying him out. So yeah, that's what Christian Cage did. Jungle Boy won his match, and then Christian Cage returned. But yep, that's what happened there. For the match and what happened after the match, I'll give it 2.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was an okay match, but it was great to see Christian Cage make his return back on Dynamite. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then after that happened, we see Anthony Bowens, Max Castro, and Billy Gunn, the Acclaim, get interviewed by Renee Paquette, and they was talking about how they're going to go after the Guns and win back their AEW World Tag Team Championships and become a 2-time Tag Team Champions, because everybody loves the Acclaim. And Max Castro said that's a mic drop. And then they did the scissoring, and then that was it. So yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. It was Hangman Adam Page versus Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford at ringside. Kip Sabian was already out there. Adam Page comes out, and he's pissed off because of what happened backstage and stuff earlier tonight. So he comes down there. Both of them is going at it. The match is going on. It was an okay match. It was going back and forth and everything. At one point, we see Adam Page hit like a sit-out powerbomb onto Kip Sabian. He pins him, but Kip Sabian barely kicking out at 2. At one point, Adam Page was trying to hit Deadeye onto Kip Sabian until he fought out of it. Kip Sabian lifted up Adam Page onto his shoulders up until Adam Page lands on his feet. And then Page hits a vicious clothesline onto him, lifts him up, and hits Deadeye onto him, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Adam Page defeated Kip Sabian tonight on AEW Dynamite. That's what happened. Really, it was an okay match. And then after the match ended, we see Jon Moxley and the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Claudio Castagnoli and Willa Yuta, the Blackpool Combat Club, come out. They get into Adam Page's face and stuff, and Moxley was like, "You don't got no friends" or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, Dark Order comes out, Evil Uno and John Silver and all of them. They come out, and Evil Uno tells Jon Moxley and them that Adam Page was the one that requested us not to come out and everything, but we're tired of you talking and everything, and we are his friends and all that stuff. And he gets face to face with Jon Moxley, and then he pushes Jon Moxley in the face, and then Moxley was like, "Me and Page at Revolution in a Texas death match." So yeah, at Revolution, it will be Jon Moxley versus Adam Page in a Texas Death Match. And not only that, they got Jon Moxley versus Evil Uno next week on Dynamite as well. So yeah, that's everything that happened there for the match. And what happened after the match, I'll give it 2.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yep, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see the Jericho Appreciation Society getting interviewed backstage. Jericho's talking about how Ricky Starks is not going to get another match against him, but he'll be facing Daniel Garcia this Friday on Rampage and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what the Jericho Appreciation Society said. And, yep, that's what happened there. But next we're going to be seeing the main event. It'll be Ruby Soho versus Toni Storm versus Britt Baker in a triple threat match. So, yeah, this match was supposed to happen a few weeks ago. It didn't happen, but now it's happening this week in the main event. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So, the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a triple threat match. It was the main event. It was Ruby Soho versus, Toni Storm with Saraya at ringside versus Britt Baker with the AEW Women's Champion Jamie Hayter and Rebel at ringside. So yeah, it was a triple threat match. This match was supposed to happen a few weeks ago, but it happened now because it couldn't never happen a few weeks ago. So before the match even started, Saraya and Toni Storm pulled a girl over the barricade and stuff, and yeah, they was acting like they was getting into it. But then we get to the very ending where we see Ruby Soho getting taken out, and then we see Toni Storm coming up, hitting a tornado DDT onto Jamie Hayter outside the ring. At one point, they actually had submission hold locked on. Toni Storm had the cloverleaf onto Ruby Soho, and then we see Britt Baker try to hit like the lockjaw on to Ruby at the same time. But then Saraya comes in there kicking Britt Baker upside the head and everything to stop her. But then we get to the very ending where Saraya starts spraying Toni Storm's ass, and then Toni Storm hits a hip attack onto Britt Baker, grabs her, about to hit Storm Zero onto her, up until Ruby Soho gets back into the ring, grabbing Toni Storm, throwing her out the ring through the bottom rope, onto Saraya, laying both of them out, and then Ruby Soho rolls up Britt Baker, pinning her for the 3 count. So yeah, Ruby Soho defeated Toni Storm and Britt Baker tonight in a triple threat match. That's what happened. For that match, I'll give it 2.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. It only lasted like 9 minutes or something like that. Yeah. Match of the night, got to say Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. Their match was probably the best match on the show, not even gonna lie. Tonight's AEW Dynamite, I'll give it 6 stars. That's why I'll give it. The show's kind of lackluster. It really has been. But yeah, that's why I'll give it. But this Friday's SmackDown comes on. I'll be talking about that. And Elimination Chamber as well comes on Saturday. I'll be talking about that. And I'll have my Elimination Chamber predictions eventually up before the show even starts, obviously, sometime this week. So yeah, that has been my AEW Dynamite reviews. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Videos, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. It'll all be down there in the description box, and I'll see you guys later for this Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later. Until then.